Hello guys and welcome to the stream of Rising Phoenix Gaming. We're currently waiting for the team to get into a game. They're in queue at the moment. Thank you for joining us, and I will be your streamer today. My name's Eleanor or James, and you can have me in game at EleanorX2. And this is Stuart or Barnabas, and he'll be doing the camera work for us today.
Thanks very much, and you can add me in game as Barnabas.
Graphics gives me typing for 2 minutes.
If you ever stopped typing, I'd be concerned about you.
Yeah, there is that.
And I'd be thankful for your poor abused keyboard.
There is that as well. Oh well. What we're expecting at the moment is a previous team comp that has been practiced by Rising Phoenix Gaming recently. They've moved away from their poke comp, and they're currently moving to what they call a mobility comp. They usually involves some form of Lee Sin, Jax, Ahri, various champions like that. A little bit less success with this team perhaps than the poke comp.
Well, how do you think they're performing with it? Do you think they suit these champions, or do you think they were really entrenched in the poke comp?
I think the problem they're having, whilst they perform very well on the champions themselves, they're not as used to having to close out a game with a standard team comp, inverted commas, as opposed to their poke comp where they can just push and push. They are going to have to work on closing out games and knowing exactly what to do and when. We haven't yet seen them play against a team that's a particularly high quality as their current new team comp. So it could be a different result to usual, but we're hoping for a win.
As always, we're hoping for a win, and as always, I'm sure the team will deliver. Very few losses for this team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've previously lost to the M5 Gambit Gaming Smurf and to a team recently which was, I'm going to put it down to a team comp error, playing an Ashe with no other damage. Anybody who's interested, the team will be going for Go for LOL on Sunday and may well be going for 4 PM on Saturday as well. If you do wish to follow the team, please have a look below in the info for the Facebook and YouTube links. We don't quite understand why you can't just click them, but it's quite easy to copy paste them into browser.
Indeed, hopefully we'll be getting into game very shortly and see if Eleanor's predictions come true, and we are seeing this team comp.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting to watch than the poke comp as well. Maybe not so much when the poke comp has gone against teams they're fairly even against, but definitely against teams where they're more challenged. They're going to struggle a lot more with a new team comp, I think, and that should make games a lot more interesting.
Indeed, though, we will miss the wonderful sight of Goose sniping everyone with the Nidalee spears.
Don't worry, he seems to be perfectly capable of sniping people on Ahri with an ult followed by a max ranged Q. It's definitely Goose is known for his aggressive play there, to put it lightly.
Oh well, at least he doesn't tear out the Wukong.
For those of you who are new to the stream and not quite sure who the team are, what we have is a player called Big Goose mid. That's spelled with double zeros. He tends to play mostly aggressive pokey champions. He plays a lot of Nidalee, a lot of Ziggs, a lot of Ahri. There's Pixel's Vision, he's the jungler. He tends to play Mundo, Cho'Gath and Lee Sin and not much else at the moment. Laaags and Miramax are our bottom lane. They've been playing together for 3 years, though they are the newest members to the team. I haven't seen them lose their bottom lane. Miramax is very much, how to put it, he plays quite conservatively. He never really dies, ever. As for Laaags, he likes to play a little more aggressively in lane. And then our top laner is Nestru, who has a huge champion pool, but does tend to prefer at the moment sticking to Jace, Jax, and Rumble. So they're an interesting group of players who are growing together as a team. Hopefully soon they're going to be growing together to the point of competing in tournaments and doing well. But as for now, we just got to sit back and wait and take them through the ladders. They're currently in the Platinum 5 ladder named, I'll just find out for you.
Singed
Panthers, yes, that's the one. Having dropped back to 35 points after a loss, they're in the Platinum Division 5. That is as high as you can be placed from placement games alone. We're hoping for them that they're certainly going to be hitting Diamond and preferably going on to the Challenger tier circuit, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Website will be going up next week on Thursday for anybody who wishes to follow the stream there, and the aim is that all their games will be shoutcasted, that we can shoutcast. There are certain rules regarding ESL, Go for LOL and 4PL for streaming, but we will be streaming them as much as possible, and soon all the replays from YouTube will be made available into the stream, so you guys can watch them whenever you want. Generally the idea is that shoutcasted games are a lot more interesting to watch than a single person stream. definitely listening to commentary is more interesting than music, in my opinion, although when it's our commentary, I'm not so sure. But more importantly, watching a team means you get to watch the whole game, as opposed to watching just one particular lane. And so hopefully not only will the stream be interesting and entertaining, it may well also be educational, you guys.
That is indeed our aim.
I've seen a lot of purchases recently, actually, Stuart. I was meaning to ask you about the Seeker's Arm Guard. Though not often being upgraded to the Zhonya's Hourglass, just bought as an early lane item against any form of AD Bruiser. Do you feel that's an item that needed to be put into the game?
I definitely feel that's an item that needs to be put into the game. If nothing else, as an equivalent of Hex Drinker. Because the amount of times you've gone up against, maybe in the top lane, as say Vlad, who's my all-time favourite top laner, because I am an asshole. But going up against those AD Bruisers, and you're picking a fairly even fight, you think you can win it, and then the Hex Drinker procs, and there's 300 HP that they didn't really have before.
Yeah, I think definitely the idea is that if ADs have a constant go-to defense against magic damage champions, perhaps magic damage champions need a go-to item for AP champions. And I can tell you now that they're in-game, and we're just going to be going into champion select now.
Yep, I have the champion select up for you at the moment, and it is Dotpix's position on Mundo, one of his favourite champions, is one of his most common champions. However, bot lane's looking very different to what you predicted, James White. How do you feel about this?
I have never seen Luck play Nami, and I've never seen Miramax play Graves, but that's not to say that something's not going to come well of it. I will assume that these picks are... Nami is very good against the poke of Ezreal, and Graves will mean that they can afford these 2v2 engagements, despite Thresh being a very strong engagement champion. Lux going up mid against Twisted Fate. It's not the most usual pick for Goose. We've seen him play Lux before. Plays a fairly good Lux. It's not a team comp at all that we've seen coming out of the team. It's not their mobility comp. It's not their poke comp. Something fairly new. Lux vs Twisted Fate, you've got to feel that Twisted Fate perhaps has the disadvantage in lane, but has the advantage on those ganks. I'm surprised that Goose hasn't chosen to run teleport to match up with that.
It is indeed a shock. But do you think Goose will, in the style of a lot of other Lux players, continue to ward the enemy blue buff and attempt to snipe steal that throughout the game?
No. I think what he'll be using to lose his laser for, and the reason for the ignite, is either getting kills 1v1 in lane, or when TF ults down, Lux can follow from a fair distance and still manage to get into that ultimate range with the long range of the laser, and I think that's what he's going to be looking to do, is support up on those TF ganks. Yorick as a top lane pick. Obviously Elise is somebody very difficult to lane against, though her mana costs have finally been adjusted to what they should be. Perhaps that's a conservative lane choice more than anything else.
Definitely a conservative lane choice there. Yorick with a lot of sustain with the Omen of Famine, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he's chosen to go with Yorick in a team comp where there isn't really one of those late game snowballing AD carries that you want to be bringing back to life. You know, often you see Yorick in conjunction with Vayne, for example, or Kog'Maw, or even kind of more recently Draven and Twitch. Graves definitely not your idea of a massive late game carry, although probably does outscale Ezreal.
Probably, but Graves more a AD lane bully rather than anything else, to be honest.
Definitely. I mean, one thing we are looking at is a lot of front-loaded burst. I mean, from that Lux Graves ultimate with the Nami ult to hold them in place, perhaps Yorick just needs to be that bruiser up front that can almost be a dive buddy of Mundo, but not quite, you know, sitting there tanky in their front lines, soaking up the damage, preferably eating those thresh pulls for them as well. I mean, it's not the most regular team comp, but I can see vaguely where they're going. I think definitely Yorick being forced to pick Yorick against that Elise. I'm very surprised he didn't choose to go with Jace, however. Excuse me for a moment.
And the Steel Legion Lux skin coming out. Definitely a win for the skins on Rising Phoenix Gaming. The Rageborn Mundo, one of the best skins in the game. I love that skin a little too much. And unfortunately, Sikron does not seem to be connecting, which is a damn shame. But we'll see how this game goes once we get in. Hopefully we'll load in fairly quickly, and we can see if there'll be any level 1 engagement. Rising Phoenix Gaming obviously having the Nami bubble and the Lux snare at level 1. Very strong CC. However, I think I'd give the level 1 edge to the purple team, and even Captain of Titanic said. Not really sure what that means, but hey. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah, I think I just accidentally made a pun. Oh, there's Jarvan connected now. Unfortunately, no victorious Jarvan skin. Shame. Although the new Jarvan skin they will be releasing soon is excellent. I have tried that on the PvE and it is a wonderful skin. I shall be picking that up, for I am a skin whore.
Okay guys, hi, I'm back for a short moment. I have to tell you that Stuart is going to be streaming alone for a few moments. My electricity is going to be going down in the next few minutes, so I won't be able to join you. I will be back with you guys as soon as possible, and for now, Stuart will be looking after you, and he may well soon be joined by Lucinda or Chris, who's another streamer in our team.
Oh well, hopefully I'll have a buddy and I won't have to do this on my own.
Good luck with that, Stuart, and I'll be back with you soon.
Hopefully I will have friends, for I do not want to be a moo for the rest of my life. But as for now, you will be stuck with me. And we'll hopefully get into the game to see what sort of action will come out at level 1, if Jarvan decides to finish toasting at any stage. Oh, there we go. In at level 1. And let's see if there's any interesting buys at level 1. Not too many wards coming out from either team at this stage. But we'll see if that changes towards. And I just have to line these up. And that is us perfect. Graves choosing to start with the Doran's Blade, showing very aggressive style in lane. And the whole team for RPG grouped together. It looks like they might try to push into the enemy red buff at level 1. But we'll have to see how that goes. The purple team lagging behind quite a lot, as their client has suggested. And yeah, this definitely looks like they're pushing into this red buff. Perhaps to get the ward down at a rate, or perhaps for the full-scale steal or invade. As I get so good at this English language. Yep, they are all grouped up at the red buff and curving round towards the rate, so Laaags lagging behind just a little bit. The purple team AD carries have gone to bot lane, and the support in the top lane are still in base despite having bought their items. Just pushing this ward, and then as many people as possible are recalling. Laaags just doing a little dance there for everyone. Nothing really going to happen at level 1. No one's planning on going to check those rates at any time. They really don't suspect anything, so it feels like it's just going to be a very passive start to the game. The ward down, and perhaps the red steal, it looks like. Yep, definitely just the red steal here. Elise not really going to check anything like that, and fortunately for her, because that would probably get her killed. Though Thresh eventually deciding that he wants to turn up. The golems being done down bot lane by Nami and Graves, that should hopefully give them a bit of an edge in lane. And the red buff being stolen away by Mundo. Jarvan just electing to clear his own blue. Thresh not waiting around to pick up the souls. Very strange. He could have got a little bit of extra armor at level 1, but perhaps feels the XP he's going to lose. Not really worth it. Laaags already getting aggressive onto TF. Trading fairly evenly. TF choosing not to start with any potions along with his crystalline. Yorick trading in the top lane. Not so great with Elise. Elise does ridiculous damage. Just ridiculous. Even after those mana cost scalings, that is still a lot of damage for anyone to take. And Yorick not so much sustain at these early levels. Jarvan has decided to go for a counter invade into the enemy's blue buff and enemy's red buff, sorry. And he is getting away with that, leaving the small minions up for Mundo to come and find as a nice surprise later. A little bit of an engagement up the top lane. Elise seems to be getting the worst of it now. And Jarvan's in on Lux, the knock, and the flash straight out. Very good decision by Goose. I feel that he would probably have been killed by that knockup combo. Graves sliding into Ezreal, dealing a lot of damage there. And the bubble unfortunately misses. It looks like there could be a bit of a counter engage, but no, they're just going to both back off and go back to CSing, and Nami will heal up. In that bot lane, it feels like the more the engages go like that, the more Graves and Nami are going to slightly pull ahead, as they do have the heals advantage, whereas Thresh not having any real sustain in lane. So reasonably passive for the first couple of minutes of this game. Thresh, unfortunately, not being able to collect those souls again. Very good to push here. Deny Thresh a lot of those souls. Going to make him weaker in the long run. Mundo just recalling back to base. Picking up a couple of extra potions, the Spirit Stone, and a ward. You always want as many wards as possible. Ezreal getting hit by that bubble there and taking a lot of damage. He's completely ran out of potions with that longsword start, and Graves having the heal from Nami. Still got plenty of HP. More trading going on the top lane, but Jarvan looks to be coming in on Lux here, and she has no flash. TF choosing to flash to set up the stun. This looks like it's definitely going to be first blood here, going down to Jarvan. Mundo arrives just a little bit too late. I don't really think he can make anything here, though giving Jarvan a couple of cleavers just for his trouble. Top lane actually going a lot in Elisa's favour. 23 CS due to 10 of Yorick, so not going so great for him. Perhaps losing a lot of CS as the ghouls knock those minions down quite low. The CS everywhere else, Graves about 10 ahead of Ezreal. Lux obviously dipping behind it, 8 CS on TF after that first blood goes down. And Jarvan a little bit behind Mundo. And he is in the top lane here, and he could pick up Yorick. Yorick's have to flash out. Is he going to get out? No, 2 flashes come out, and they have taken him down. His Ignite goes down on Jarvan, and at least repels out to avoid that turret hit. It's a nice advantage for the purple team. Nice early advantage, about 1,500 gold. And they seem to be winning everywhere but bot lane. So maybe Jarvan can make something happen down there, and hopefully Mundo can make some excitement in the other lanes. Oh, Graves getting pulled down by Thresh there, taking a bit of damage, but just sliding out and returning with the buckshot. Nami has bubbled him. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's just going to saunter away and activate his Crystalline. And he has picked up 10 souls so far. That gives him 10 armor and 10 AP for a little bit of that extra damage. Jarvan just moving towards his rate, and Mundo leaving the top lane. Perhaps going to try and gank down towards bottom, see if he can help Ezreal and Thresh out. Thresh just missing a couple of those pulls. Ezreal taken very low, though he does have the summoner heal, perhaps trying to bait something in here. See if they can indeed turn it around. The directed camera at the moment, really loving bot lane. Let's see if we can shift up to mid. There's not much going on, just a lot of farming right now. Lux caught up a little bit towards TF, and Yorick catching up a little bit towards Elise, who has decided to go with that giant spell, and does look like she's not wanting to go in on Yorick towards that massive creep wave. TF has just hit level 6, so he will be attempting to push out that wave, seeing if he can make some ganks happen. And Jarvan is in top lane again, and Nestor is completely unwarded in that river, and he's going to go down here again to the Jarvan Elise gank. Oh no, the cocoon is missed, and just takes him out. That last auto attack. Another successful gank by Jarvan top lane. It feels like the lack of ward coverage is really hurting Nestor in this top lane. It's the second time he's been ganked, and he only has that ward in the Tribush, which has expired now. And Mundo's moving in towards mid lane, but Jarvan seems to be there to counter gank him. Mundo actually getting a nice experience lead on Jarvan, about half a level ahead of him maybe, but unfortunately unable to pull out those ganks. Thresh does have the pink ward down bot lane and is just clearing out the vision. Perhaps once Jarvan gets that level 6, which he has just got, he'll hope to come down towards bot lane with TF and see if he can make something happen with the Jarvan ult. Yorick being very heavily harassed in this top lane and not having a fun time of it at all, taking a lot of damage for Elise, who has that giant spell, who has the rejuve speed and can just sustain up and take a lot of that damage. Graves deciding to go with the Vamp Scepter and the Doran's Blade. Ezreal opting for the dagger for a little bit of extra attack speed. Thresh opting to pull the minions because they're evil and heinous and they need to be destroyed. Mundo now rushing in. The exhaust has gone down. Ezreal uses the flash. The cleaver has hit him, and it feels like Ezreal's going down here. Thresh could go down as well if Mundo decides to dive. The tidal wave coming out from Nami as she just hit 6 in the middle of that gank. Really nice gank by Mundo bot lane. Evens out the gold slightly across the map, only 800 gold in it now, but Jarvan's here, so they can't push onto that tower. It looks like they're just going to decide to do the dragon instead. TF Jarvan not really in a position to contest this so much. 2v4, a very difficult situation for anyone, but they have decided to leave it, seeing as they do not have a pink ward for it. Jarvan has seen Nami recalling, but he's not going to manage to pick anything up there. Now the question is, will he push in towards Mundo's red? No, it doesn't look like it. Just checking the dragon to make sure nothing's going down. It looks like he could be starting it, and he is starting the dragon after seeing them recall. And this seems like it's going to be very risky as Mundo and Lux come in. They've got a suspicion, and now Jarvan is trapped in that dragon pit. Though they are severely outnumbered, he is taking a lot of damage from that dragon. Oh, and they managed to secure it, though the smite does just miss. Could have very easily been stolen. Kill goes down in York top lane. TF has popped the ultimate and is going to take out Lux. This is not a good team fight, but Ezreal could go down to Graves here. No, the stun goes down. Nami has arrived, but she has no ultimate available, so it looks like Ezreal's just going to get out. However, Thresh may have to sacrifice himself for the motherland. Yep, definitely that next cleaver goes down, and he is very dead. Thresh. Graves picking up the kill there, putting him nice and far ahead of Ezreal. Almost 1,000 gold down bot lane now, though there's a little more than 1,000 gold up top lane. The mid lane, about 1,000 gold there as well, and a couple of hundred gold in the jungle. It is not going so well for Rising Phoenix Gaming right now. TF just pushing in on this mid lane. They're just keeping all the lanes pushed. They have a lot of control over this map right now. TF recalling in the mid lane, Lux arriving. The CS gap still about the same as it's always been mid lane, about 8 to 10. Yorick has fallen very far behind. He's 25 CS behind now, but Graves is making that up with his monumental nearly 40 CS up on Ezreal. Ezreal just having a bit of a fight with Nami. Nami not really caring, feeling like she can fight him right now, as they are quite far ahead in this bot lane. She has picked up the Philo Stone and has generated 121 gold on that to Thresh's 129, so they did pick that up at roughly the same time. So not really any GP10 advantage on the supports at all. Bit of a scrap going on down bot lane, just trading poke back and forth. Graves seeming to get the better of this, but Jarvan has been pulled in. However, there's not really much going to happen here. They are not falling for that in any way. They are warding Rabish, and Jarvan does look to be slipping into Mundo's jungle right now, perhaps attempting to gank him in the jungle. Mundo has spotted that. Lux is arrived. Jarvan knows that she's there, and yep, he looks to be pushing in onto this, but Mundo is there. TF just moving in. Nami is coming up behind the rear. The tidal wave has gone down, and this does not look to go well for purple team. Graves fighting Ezreal and Thresh down the bot lane, not really giving many shits. And a really nice fight for RPG there, picking up a nice free kill, and Graves handily able to 2v1 down that bot lane. Lux, however, did lose a lot of health, and that could be detrimental to her in lane. She is having to pot up quite hard at the moment, and TF is just spamming those wildcards at her as she tries to catch him in the snare. TF does look to be making a move towards bot lane. Gonna try and ulti in perhaps. Yep, the grip has gone down. The TF ulti. Graves is just deciding to leave his support. Oh no, thinks he can maybe fight this, but the exhaust has gone down onto him, and he is going to run away now because he is on minimum mana. Lux not going to attempt to snipe there, not feeling like she can catch him before he recalls. There's almost no mana on anyone in the bot lane apart from Thresh, and he does have the box available, but Mundo is moving in towards him, perhaps going to try and bait this for Mundo. No, Thresh just trying to knock him away. Not an awful lot going on. York did pop that ulti up the top lane, but the fight seems to have been disengaged. Probably a good decision, seeing as he is 2 levels behind. Not the best position for him to be in up there. Mundo is in on TF here, but it doesn't look like there's an awful lot going to happen. I don't think it'd be wise to dive this, as Jarvan has just arrived, looking very manly and scary. He does have that sight zone and the wriggle, so he's going to be pumping out a lot of wards on the map. Mundo deciding to go for the Kindle gem, and Yorick up the top lane has decided to pick up 3 no magic mantles to try and trade with Elise, so he is very scared of her right now, and she, even after those nerfs, is still in a very strong position. Oh, the Lux snare does hit. That was a very nice hit, and Jarvan is going down here. There's nothing to be done for him. Thresh has arrived, but it is just Thresh. The box has gone down, but it's not really hitting anything. The Lux is taking a lot of damage from TF. However, Mundo is able to pick that up. Nami just arrives for good measure. They look to be going in for the blue buff steal here. And Elise just deciding to walk back into that top lane while Graves pushes bottom. Yep, this blue buff is going to be stolen away and put onto Laaags. And that is very good for RPG. Perhaps going to give their own blue buff to York to see if he can recoup some of that advantage that he lost in the top lane. Oh, a hard engage going on by Elise here. York's retreating to his tower, but Elise is repelled onto him. And this does not look to go good for York, and he has unfortunately died. Elise takes a couple of extra tower hits just because she can with that giant's built Haunting Geist, and backs off. Graves still very aggressive onto Ezreal, and Ezreal having no real answer to the just sheer damage Graves is putting out with his 40 CS and 1 kill advantage. It's a lot of gold down in that bot lane that Ezreal does not have. Yep, 900 gold disadvantage for him there. The tower goes down bot lane. That'll be a nice bit of global gold for those who need it. And it brings the gold lead. There's still 1,000 difference in it, and Lux could be killed here if Jarvan decides to go on this. And he hits the knock-up. Lux is going to go down here. TF flashing in, counter flashes, but Jarvan still has the ulti. He loses that. That does not seem to be the smartest place for Lux to recall, to be honest, as Jarvan was just wandering around. And this looks like Elise is down here to take this dragon. Yep, that is going to go down rather quickly, and there's not really much Mundo can do about it as he is up pushing the top lane. Nami going to try and DPS Jarvan off it, however that has gone down. Mundo going to get this top tower definitely. No one really there to stop him, but they have sacrificed the dragon for it. And they did lose Lux and her buffs, which is very unfortunate. Everyone just sort of returning to the lanes now, farming up the jungle, and waiting for the next push or objective to happen. Ezreal definitely needing that farm time, though the dragons will be helping him a lot. He's ulting the wave, trying to perhaps get it pushed into the Graves, getting pulled into Ezreal right now, but sliding out after the exhaust goes down. However, he may in fact go down here. The tidal wave is coming in. Thresh has been forced to flash, and it just barely misses Ezreal as the heal goes down onto Graves. They may try and counter engage this now, but Graves is on extremely low HP, and the bubble just misses. Ezreal uses that lantern just because it's fun to do so. Graves just pushing up this wave, trying to make sure nothing happens to the bot tower. And having a wander of bot lane, perhaps going to go take that red buff. Mundo in the top lane to clear these waves, try and prevent the top tower going down. As this is where their advantage is. They are 2 towers to 0 currently, despite the fact that the tower counter in spectator mode will never work. Oh, Nami is going to be killed here. She must be killed. Really? Really? Jarvan has flashed, TF has ulted as well. Feels like RPG could go in and stop this, because they have Graves, they have Yorick, and TF is ulting out. Jarvan just going to slide over there, but he is sliding into Lux, and all he has to back him up is Thresh, though the lantern just saving his life. Nami almost getting out there, and it is a real shame that she ended up dying. Mundo just throwing cleavers at Elise all day, though those spiderlings will just block them all. Trying to defend this top tower for all his life. Ezreal still very far behind in farm compared to Graves, despite the fact Graves did go to try and help out in that little altercation, but Mundo very afraid of at least not wanting to go in and melee hit those creeps while she's there. But she does take a tower hit and a cleaver. And he is going in on this with his ulti because Lux has turned up, though. Yep. Lux is going to see her clear. Mundo flashes out, and he does have the ulti on the go. Is Lux going to... She does not have the laser available currently. Graves moving in onto Ezreal. Ezreal goes out. TF taking the mid-tower, and Elise miraculously is escaping, though the laser is up, and is not going to snipe her. That is very unfortunate there. I'm really interested to see what York is going to build these 3 null magic mantles into, if I'm honest. He's going to get the Merc Treads. It looks like he's going to get the Aegis of the Legion, but as far as the third item is concerned, I could not tell you. But Elise has already finished up her War Mugs, and she has that Hunting Dice and those Sword Bits, so she is very strong right now. Very tanky, and Jarvan has finally picked up his Giant Spell and his Ruby Sightstone, so he's not so untanky himself. Mundo opting for the Spirit of the Ancient Golem for the tenacity, and that allows him to pick up those Ninja Tabi and the Kindle Gem for the health and the CDR. Because all you need on Mundo is health, and then you can go where you please. Graves moving up towards this mid lane. Could be caught out by Elise here. Is he going to get hit by the Cocoon? No, it's just missed. They did have that warded. Which is very good for them, because if Graves got hit by that, there would have been a serious issue. He's heading down towards that bot lane just to de-push it. And there is just everyone pushing in on mid, as tends to happen. The TF going to pick up that blue buff, and York trying to gain some of that farm in the top lane, because he's about as far behind Elise as Ezra is behind Graves. Oh! And there's my co-caster returned.
Oh, welcome back.
We have missed you greatly. Are you spectating?
I'm not spectating with you yet, but I am watching the stream, so I'm kind of streaming what's slightly behind.
Okay, well you get to hear my lovely commentary twice, which
No,
I just...
I don't have the sound on. I can just see the stream in the background. I'm really angry now. I'm really sorry about that. My electrician decided to turn the electricity out for 20 minutes. How are we doing so far?
RPG is about 3,000 gold behind. The enemy Jarvan has got out some very good ganks, and Nestor as always feels that river doesn't really need to be warded so much.
One of those games.
Yep. They did have a nice advantage.
What's most of the feed going? Onto Elise by any chance?
Yeah, she is 4 kills to 0, and Yorick is 0 kills to 4 deaths. It's very unfortunate. He has built 3 null magic mantles. I'm really concerned as to where the third one's actually going. Because I can see he's building the Merc Treads and the Aegis. Yep. Ah! There we go. James has worked it out. Oh, Nami's getting caught by Thresher, and she is going to go down to Twisted Fate unless she... Yeah, there's the third card, and the Ezreal ulti just slides past her corpse for good measure.
League of Legends being phenomenal, of course I am in the queue.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we hope to have you back with us as quickly as possible.
But as for now, I mean, looking at the team as a whole, what would you say that RPG needs to be focusing on doing right now?
They definitely need to be focusing on grouping up, roaming as 5, and just... They need to get this mid tier. They're still... The first tier to our mid is still available. They definitely need to get that. They need to stop getting Thresh pulled, because that's another flash taken just by those Thresh pulls, and the Elise follow up. Graves throwing out the ulti there to try and ward everyone off and disengage that fight. They also need to improve their dragon control, because this is going to be the 3rd dragon that the purple team are going to get uncontested.
Can they fight it?
Nope, not within the position they're in. Lux tries to snipe it with the laser. Does very good damage, but unfortunately just with the positioning, it wasn't going to happen. Yorick is dipped to 60 CS behind Elise, and Ezreal has caught up very nicely to Graves and is now nearly 1v1ing him. Graves is going to have to fall back here, or he might be waiting for his buckshot to come up. No, he's just going to keep retreating and run for the hills.
Is it fair to say that at this point the purple team need to make mistakes for anything to go in RPG's favour, or is it still close enough?
Great.
Just farm equal team fights?
Graves is very strong right now. Mundo is coming in here towards Ezreal. He could get him. The E goes down from Ezreal. Ezreal does have his flash available. He uses that there, but it's not going to get him away from Mundo. But Elise and TF are collapsing here. Ezreal pops his summoner here, and it looks like he's going to live, and Mundo and Graves have been cleaned up by the... They're just outnumbered. There is, however, 3 members of RPG pushing mid-tower, so hopefully they're going to be able to pick this up as some sort of retaliation. Yep, they are. The bind goes on towards Jarvan, but there's not really much happening to him, though the Lux Snipe goes out and he dodges it with a Thresh Lantern.
What do you think of Thresh so far during this game?
I've not seen much of Thresh, but as much as he doesn't actually have that many assists, this Thresh has landed a lot of good pulls, and he's got a lot of flashes out of RPG.
Okay, and then in terms of defense?
In terms of defense, they've not really needed him much for defense. Because they've been, most of the time they've been the aggressors. In bot lane, he wasn't so helpful when RPG were holding that bot lane very strongly with the Graves Nami, putting out a lot of heart onto Ezreal, but as soon as the lane phase broke, he became quite a good asset to this purple team.
Interesting. So would you say as a whole, Thresh seems to be a fairly strong champion?
I'm not sure he's the strongest of supporters, but very much like Nami herself, he's not the strongest, but I can see that they are a useful champion and they've got their benefits, because that hook over walls, dragging people towards your team, that is devastating. That's half the...
Stun lasts for a long time, the stun of being held in that pull.
Yeah, that's 1.5 seconds.
Do for quite a long time.
Graves electing...
Can I say also that Thresh is more beneficial to a team that are behind?
I don't know, he seems to be working very well here in this aggressive team. He does have a lot of, especially with the Jarvan combo here, they do have a huge amount of zone control with both of those ultis. Oh, the TF ult goes down. They are trying to collapse onto Mundo. Is the snare going to hit? The snare has hit him. And he's flashed out, but the gold card hits, at least repels down onto him. I don't think they're going to be able to pick up Mundo here. He's got his Burning Agony on, he's got his Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and he is ulting away to save himself. Yep, he has escaped.
Oh, that's very good. I mean, really, burning all their spells on Mundo, does that not give RPG a good chance to go in, or is it the fact that Mundo's on low health? No chance to go in. Which way would you see that working?
Mundo's still on absolutely brilliant health. However, it was basically a trade one ulti for one ulti. Though Jarvan is getting caught out here, and his team is now collapsing. The Lux laser goes down, the Ezreal ult comes across. Mundo is taking a lot of damage with no ulti, but he seems to be able to cope with this. Goose takes out Thresh, and then they just shoot shoot Elise down. I'm very sorry, that's my telephone going. I'm just going to ignore it. Ezreal very...
be joining you in the spectator, having reloaded into the queue.
Ezreal very out of position that fight, not really able to put down as much damage as he would have liked. He was unfortunately having to fight over the dragon wall, which meant a lot of his auto attacks weren't going off. He was only really able to use that Q for damage. He does have the Iceborne Gauntlet, so it does still do a fair bit of damage, but nowhere near as much as Graves just shooting you. He does get caught by the wind. Graves is in with the buckshot, and he eased back into the Lux spell, which was beautifully placed by Goose. The Lucent Singularity.
At this moment, if there is a small line play, just give a shout out first of all to Renavis for managing to keep the stream going on his own. That's very brilliant. Secondly, I just want to give a shout out to Demon Hunter Mai. That is the AD carry for Laaags, which is the enemy purple team. I'm fairly sure that this is the same Demon Hunter Mai that played for even the captain of Titanic said Lag in Guild Wars 1 in many monthly tournaments, and was a brilliant player there. Yeah, it definitely is. I can also see a Kobe in their bottom lane, so shout out to them both. These are players who I've known for 9 or 10 years.
Yes, that was the name of the purple team. It was even the captain of the Titanic said, though I'm just calling them purple team, because that was very long for me to say all game.
These are players who I've been playing with for up to 10 years, so it's very nice to see them moving on to a different game. Definitely staying in the same community. I can confirm they actually won the monthly tournament in Guild Wars only 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well. Congratulations to them then.
I must also give a shout out to any listeners who followed in from the League of Legends forum post, and please do feel free to check out both our YouTube, where you'll find all previous games of RPG, probably playing a hell of a lot better than this, and also to their Facebook page, and obviously you can subscribe to our Twitch channel here, so welcome along everybody. Okay, I'm now in on spectator mode with you.
Mundo's picked up the oracles now, but he is taking a couple of hits from that Baron as Jarvan decides to just give it a bit of a poke with his spear.
So I'm assuming at this point the Baron dance is where we would expect to find both teams?
That is what... Yep, definitely the Baron dance right now, as Graves for RPG is sitting in that bot lane, very visible to the minions. They are pushing into this Baron on the purple team, but there's not really too much they can do when Mundo has that oracles and is doing his best to clear out the vision, though they still have a great deal of it, for they have bought many wards indeed, Jarvan having that sight stone, as does Thresh.
Is it fair to say that both teams have a good and bad Baron fight, in that, first of all, obviously Mundo, Jarvan, even Elise actually, all very tanky, able to tank the Baron very easily, same with Yorick. However, in terms of damage to Baron...
Oh, Yorick just getting caught out here by the Elise stare, but Nami heals him up. Well, Mundo's cleavers do deal a great deal of damage to that Baron, and Mundo has decided to go in on Jarvan. The Nami ult is out, TF is porting in, just behind the whole team, the cards coming out. Jarvan ult to go down, the box is down as well, the snipe destroys Thresh, however Graves was taken out by TF. Mundo now just wailing on him, but the Revenant of Graves... Yep, the Revenant of Graves is just destroying people. The flash is coming out, and Ezreal is very dead here unless that E comes back up right now. Oh no, he could escape. I think he is going to escape. I think they're just going to stop chasing and pull back onto this Baron. Ah, they have Lux coming in. I think they're just trying to get Lux out from that nasty Elise, because she is still up and she's still full HP. And it looks like they're going to decide to push a tower here instead of doing the Baron.
Is it fair to say that that's why they won that fight, is that Elise wasn't quite able to close in the fight?
I think it was definitely detrimental to them. Also, I think TF ported in extremely far back, and his first set of wildcards didn't really hit too many people. in the AoE. Obviously, he hit his primary target. Yorick might go down here. No, Elise is dove in, and it's just her and Thresh. Though the whole team is respawning now, so they should be careful with this dive, because it could go very wrong for them. Yep. And, ooh, Mundo is in a lot of trouble. But a lot of move speed, and the Nami bubble just goes out. These Nami bubbles are very good for the disengage.
Is it fair to say this is a very worrying position for RPG? I mean, whilst Elise is low and Thresh on half HP, they are all fairly low on health, fairly low on mana. Are they able to defend the Baron right now?
I think Mundo is still able to defend the Baron. I mean, that Mundo ulti is on a very short cooldown, and it's very difficult to chase a Mundo, because he will use his Burning Agony for the CC reduction, and those cleavers are just a pain with the percent.
He has, however, lost his oracles, and they are pushing straight onto this Baron. No oracles or pink ward going down for the purple team. They have no wards on it. Laaags picking up the blue buff. She's coming up slowly in mana.
Yep, they are going into contest. Graves gets caught by the gold count, but he isn't going to go down. He takes the Revenant, and he's still standing. Mundo goes in and steals the Baron. The Lux Laser goes across. This is just a devastating fight for the purple team. They are all going to go down here. How do you feel about that Baron decision?
Without any form of oracles or pink ward, without any vision around, all I can assume is that they thought that the enemy team had backed. I'm really surprised they didn't use the TF ulti to check where the blue team was. That would have been their instant, it would have been instant flash to say, hello, you don't want to do Baron right now, the entire team are near, Laaags is going to have a blue buff.
And Graves is going in onto Ezreal with the red buff, and he's flashed, and he's buckshot, and he is dead. Anyway, as you were saying before Graves catches Ezreal out...
Definitely, I mean, Twisted Fate Ultimate is not only for porting. You've got to remember the first half of that spell. It gives vision to the entire map. They easily could have made sure that they could take that Baron safely. I think what RPG need to look to do now is just to take what they can, but not to go overly aggressive. They really can't afford to push too hard on this. Nami now going back to base to defend. Ezreal on fairly low mana. I'm doing terribly here. Lux on fairly low mana. On fairly low mana. My director camera was taking me to Ezreal, which confused everything in my mind.
They are going to try the dragon here, but the whole purple team...
But they need to be careful and make sure they do.
Oh no, Lux is getting caught out here, and she has gone down, unfortunately. Though they did secure the dragon. Dragon for Lux.
Not worth it at this point in the game. Once you get above 40-second those death timers, you really don't want to be losing anybody for anything. Perhaps for a Baron, perhaps for an inhibitor, perhaps for a kill on the enemy team. For something as trivial as 190 gold, would they pay 190 gold back from each of their players to have Lux back up? Probably.
That is true, and she does in fact lose that Baron buff, which is worth a lot of gold.
Not only did she lose the Baron buff, she also lost her blue buff. There really is nothing that they're gaining out of losing the Lux there. They easily could have waited for that dragon, they could have contested the dragon, they could have fought against the dragon, would have given them a lot stronger advantage. We now see Ezreal picking up the red buff, Tiaf picking up the blue buff. You've got to think at the moment that even though Lux did lose her Baron buff, the RPG are in a stronger position and will look to push now.
Definitely, this is the first time they've actually managed to pick up a gold advantage in the whole game. This is the first time they've ever been ahead. They look from first blood to up to now. They've been just trailing in that gold ever so slightly, but now they are 1,000 gold ahead. Not a great deal at this point, but it does show that they are bringing this game back into their favour. And the Yorick is, however, still, about 60 CS behind Elise. So you can definitely see the early game from Elise still showing on Yorick and showing on his real lack of gold. I mean, he's sort of scraping the same gold that Nami is at the moment, and Lux getting caught out again by the TF ulti, and she might go down. No, the Serfs brought the Jarvan ulti. He is just going to beat her to death right now. And she is going down again. Graves Nami taking out Thresh. They are going to pick up Jarvan. This Graves is just demolishing everyone. The cleaver hits Ezreal. He is going to go down very swiftly, if not immediately. One more cleaver should do it from under. No, Graves gets the auto attack in. Do you think they're going to decide to just push for victory here?
With 3 enemies down, enemy team down, 3 members of the enemy team down, Elise very strong right now, but not really able to defend the base against an entire team, I don't think. This is going to be the clutch. We try and defend everything.
Yep.
Elise going...
Deciding to flash out? Nope, I think she's just conceding the base to RPG.
Well, in all, RPG perhaps a scrappy game, but definitely they pulled it out in the end. They've taken that victory when they can. Congratulations, Miramax, on playing what looked like a very strong game overall, and thank you, Stuart, for being able to hold down the hold down the stream throughout all of my issues. Hello to any new viewers, by the way. We will soon be back streaming another game. For now, if you'd like to check out the Facebook page or the YouTube channel, you'll find those both below. Any replays of previous games. There are a couple of very good games. I can recommend one game against Terror, which is an hour long and it's very exciting.